Hi, Chris Kuzmal here. We've been building some unit tests for our n-body code and making a bit of a mess. So here we see, starting on line 16 and continuing until line 21, we conduct a single test. Before, we had pretty much two lines of code, for example, on lines 10 and 11, and on lines 13 and 14, where the only thing our code did was invoke some kind of a test method, and then either that test method passed or it failed, and so we incremented the pass or we incremented the fail counter, and that was all the detail that we saw at the level of the main method. Even that is probably more detail than we'd like, but instead, we have even more detail here starting on line 16. We create a particular kind of object and we do all kinds of things. And the reason for that extra detail was we wanted to be able to indicate something about what happens when the test failed. Well, let's encapsulate that into our test. So rather than doing our test to our constructor with an argument 2, 1, we'll do that. Well, we won't do that. We're going to have an expected answer, okay, that we're going to pass in. And so rather than passing in the variable there, we're going to say 0, okay? And 0 is is going to correspond to the expected value that happens when we fail. And I'd say if I put in a O instead of a 0, so there's a there I think is a 0. And of course, right now the test method is unhappy because it's expecting a matter object. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to undo what we did before. We actually put this matter object here outside of the method. We're going to put it back in because really that does belong encapsulated inside the method. All right, but the expected value is a double, and we'll call it expected. All right, and then what we can do is we can compare to1.acceleration to expected, and that's the return value. However, we can also, knowing whether or not we've passed our test, we can do if not pass. Okay, we can print out the failure that we put in the main up here. Instead, we'll put down here in the method itself. Of course, we have to create the variable pass, which will be Boolean, and that will just be whether or not t0, the acceleration equals the expected value. Okay. And of course, we'll return whether we passed. We'll return pass as the variable. But this creates something of a template for future unit tests, so that now test to our constructor acceleration is back to having the same pattern as the other methods. And we can think about later on, maybe we should make pass and fail global variables or fields within our the test code that we have here. And maybe we'll do that next time.